There's a moment, usually months later, when she finally feels it. Not sadness, not anger, but absence. The kind that echoes louder than any argument, cuts deeper than any silence you ever kept while trying to hold her together. And in that quiet, something cracks inside her. Because for the first time since you walked away, she realizes you're not coming back. Most men think silence is weakness, that walking away means they've lost. But here's what no one tells you. The longer you stay gone, the more her world unravels. Not because you're punishing her, but because time strips away every lie she told herself about who you were and who she was without you. She thought you were replaceable, that your loyalty was just convenience, that your calm was complacency. But time doesn't care about her ego. It only reveals truth. And the truth? You weren't just there. You were the foundation she didn't know she was leaning on until it vanished. This isn't about revenge. It's about revelation. This isn't about making her suffer. It's about letting reality do the teaching. If you've been ghosted, discarded, or left like you never mattered, this is your moment of clarity. Because while she's busy convincing herself she's fine, time is quietly proving the opposite. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your absence is the most powerful statement you'll ever make. Stay with me, because what happens next isn't just poetic justice. It's psychological inevitability. And before we start, hit the like button and subscribe. We go deep here, no fluff, no fake positivity. Just raw truth for men rebuilding themselves from the ground up. Don't scroll. This is the turning point you've been waiting for. Now, let's begin. 1. Your absence reshapes her world. Most men don't realize this, but your presence wasn't just noticed. It was depended on. Even if she never said it, even if she acted like you were optional. Human beings adapt to consistency, not intensity. And you? You were the quiet constant in her chaos, the steady hand, the grounded voice, the reliable rhythm in a life that probably felt unstable long before you showed up. But when you walk away, not dramatically, not angrily, just cleanly, something shifts in her nervous system. Not right away. Not in the first week when ego is still running the show. But weeks later, months later, that's when the silence starts echoing. Because now, there's no one to text after a bad day. No one who remembers how she takes her coffee. No one who quietly held space for her without needing praise or performance in return. She assumed those things would always be there, like gravity. But gravity only feels invisible until you're falling. And here's the psychological twist. We only recognize value through loss. Neuroscience confirms it. Our brains assign emotional weight to things after they're gone, not while we have them. That's why regret hits harder than gratitude. That's why she'll suddenly remember your patience during her worst moods, your loyalty when others walked, your calm when everything else was spinning. This isn't manipulation. This is human nature. Your absence doesn't scream, it whispers. And over time, that whisper becomes deafening. Because every time she tries to fill that space with someone new, she'll feel the difference. Not because they're worse, but because you weren't trying to impress her. You were simply being. And authenticity can't be faked. So while she's out chasing validation, you're building something real, a life that no longer orbits her approval. And that contrast? That's what time sharpens. Stop begging to be heard when walking away sends the clearer message. Comment. Silence speaks loudest, and let your absence reshape the dynamic. 2. Her ego collapses first. Here's what happens the moment you stop reacting. Her ego loses its anchor. She built a story in her head, maybe not out loud, but deep down, that you'd always be there. That if things got hard, you'd come crawling back. That your love was a safety net she could jump into whenever her latest distraction failed or her pride took a hit. And for a while, that illusion worked. Because as long as you kept texting, checking in, or showing up emotionally, even after being treated like an option, she never had to face the truth. She wasn't in control. She was just lucky you stayed. But when you go silent, not out of spite but out of self-respect, something cracks inside her narrative. The first few days, she convinces herself it's fine, maybe even better this way. But then, silence stretches. No explanations, no pleas, no "what did I do wrong" texts. Just nothing. And that nothing? It terrifies her more than any angry message ever could. Because now, she can't manipulate the outcome. She can't spin your reaction to fit her version of events. Your silence gives her no script to follow, no role to play. And without that, her ego starts to starve. Psychologists call this narcissistic injury. Not because she's a narcissist, but because everyone has an ego that depends on external validation to feel secure. When you remove yourself from that equation, she's forced to ask questions she's spent years avoiding. Was I actually kind? Did I take him for granted? Am I really as irreplaceable as I thought? That's not punishment. That's accountability. And here's the Stoic truth. You don't need to say a word for her to hear the message. Your discipline speaks louder than any argument. Your peace becomes the mirror that shows her exactly who she became when she thought no one was watching. So if you've been wondering whether she notices your absence, yes. Not because you're haunting her thoughts, but because your calm departure shattered the illusion that she could treat you carelessly and still have you waiting in the wings. If you've ever felt invisible in your own relationship, comment "seen" below. Because today, you're seen by the right people, the ones who value depth over performance. 3. Regret chases her, not you. Here's the quiet irony most men never see coming. Regret doesn't knock on your door, it haunts hers. While you're focused on rebuilding, lifting heavier weights, sharpening your mind, setting boundaries she never respected, she's out there trying to fill a void with noise. New dates, new distractions, new people who laugh at her jokes but don't truly see her. And for a while, it works. She convinces herself she's moved on, that you were just a phase, a warm body during a lonely season. But then, something shifts. Maybe it's a rainy Tuesday. Maybe it's hearing a song you used to play. Maybe it's realizing the new guy gets defensive when criticized, while you listened, even when it hurt. That's when the comparisons start. Not because she's thinking about you constantly, but because your presence set a standard she didn't realize existed until it was gone. Psychology calls this post-decision dissonance. When someone makes a choice they later doubt, their mind searches for evidence that they made the wrong call. And every time she experiences instability, flakiness, or emotional immaturity in someone new, her subconscious whispers, "He wasn't perfect, but he was steady." And that whisper grows louder with time. You don't have to do anything. No cryptic social media posts, no accidental run-ins. Just keep living with integrity. Because regret isn't born from grand gestures, it's born from contrast. And your disciplined absence creates the sharpest contrast of all. This isn't about hoping she suffers. It's about understanding that true loss isn't felt in the moment. It's felt in the echo. And while she's replaying moments she once dismissed, you're creating new ones that honor your worth. So if you've been tempted to reach out just to see how she's doing, remember, her healing isn't your responsibility. Your peace is. A man who knows his worth never looks over his shoulder to see who is following. Lock into your mission, leave the past where it belongs, and drop Built on Contrast right now. 4. The power of walking away. Most men confuse walking away with giving up. But real power isn't in staying. It's in knowing when to stop negotiating your worth. When you leave, not with rage, not with a dramatic exit, but with quiet resolve. You do something radical. You refuse to be the emotional janitor cleaning up after her choices. No more soothing her guilt. No more explaining yourself to someone who never truly listened. No more shrinking your standards so she could feel comfortable being careless with your heart. And that terrifies her more than any breakup ever could. Because now, for the first time, she has to sit with the consequences of her actions, without you there to soften the fall. She can't blame you for changing. She can't twist your words into proof that you weren't committed enough. Your calm departure leaves no loopholes for her narrative. Just truth. She had something rare, and she let it go. This is where Stoicism becomes your armor. The ancient philosophers didn't preach suppression. They taught discernment. Know what's yours to carry and what belongs to fate or her. And her regret, her confusion, her late-night what-ifs. None of that is yours to fix. Walking away with dignity isn't passive. It's active self-sovereignty. It says, I value myself too much to remain where I'm undervalued. And that stance? It echoes louder than any plea ever could. She'll test it, of course. A vague text, a social media like, maybe even a I've changed confession months later. But if you've truly walked away, not just physically, but emotionally, you won't flinch. Because you know, someone who sees your value doesn't need reminders, they protect it. So while she's replaying your last conversation, wondering if you'll come back, you're already 3 chapters ahead in your own story. If you've ever stayed too long out of fear rather than love, comment free below. Because today, you choose freedom over familiarity. 5. Time proves your value. Here's the quiet law of human nature that no amount of charm or distraction can override. Time reveals substance. In the beginning, she might have mistaken your steadiness for boredom, your loyalty for neediness, your patience for passivity. She compared you to flashy moments, grand gestures, chaotic passion, the kind of drama that feels like love but burns out fast. But time doesn't reward performance. It rewards presence. And yours? It had weight. While she's cycling through temporary highs, new matches, surface-level connections, fleeting validation, you're doing something far more dangerous to her illusion. You're becoming undeniable. You're waking up earlier, saying no without guilt, building routines that don't revolve around anyone's approval. And with every day that passes, the contrast grows sharper. Because distractions fade, ego-driven relationships collapse under their own instability. But a man grounded in purpose, he compounds. This is where Stoicism meets real life. The ancients didn't chase recognition. They cultivated inner worth so deeply that external validation became irrelevant. And that's exactly what you're doing now. Not to prove anything to her, but because you finally understand. Your value was never in how much she missed you. It was in how much you refused to lose yourself trying to keep her. Months from now, if she sees a glimpse of your life, a photo, a mutual friend's update, a quiet rumor, she won't just see success, she'll see peace. And that will sting more than any flex ever could. Because peace isn't performative, it's earned. And it's the one thing she can't replicate with someone who's still chasing her attention instead of building his own legacy. So, let time do its work. You don't need to announce your growth. You just need to live it. If you've stopped measuring your worth by her reactions, drop time in the comments, because time is your ally, not your enemy. 6. She realizes too late. There comes a moment, often months after you've vanished from her daily life, when the fantasy finally cracks. Not because you sent a message, not because someone told her about your progress, but because she runs out of distractions that feel like answers. She'll replay old conversations in her head, the way you used to listen without interrupting, how you stayed calm when she lashed out, how you showed up, not with fireworks, but with unwavering presence. And for the first time, she won't see those as just what boyfriends do. She'll see them for what they were, rare acts of quiet devotion from a man who actually cared. But by then, it's too late. You're not checking your phone waiting for her signal. You're not wondering if she's thinking about you. You've already moved into a new chapter, one where your energy goes toward building, not begging. And that's the ultimate irony. The very thing she assumed would always be there is now completely unavailable to her. Psychologically, this is called irretrievable loss, the point where someone realizes they can't undo what they've done. No amount of apologies, no sudden change of heart, no nostalgic text at 2 a.m. can bring back what was freely given and freely withdrawn. And here's the Stoic insight. You don't have to deny her regret to honor your peace. You can acknowledge that she sees it now, without letting that recognition pull you back into old patterns. Because real strength isn't in refusing to forgive. It's in knowing forgiveness doesn't require re-entry. She may reach out. She may say all the right things. But if she only sees your value after losing you, then what she wants isn't you. It's the version of herself she felt worthy of when you were around. And that's not love. That's nostalgia dressed as redemption. So let her realize. Let her ache. Not out of cruelty, but because growth demands consequence. And while she's stuck in the past, you're writing your future. If you've accepted that too late is sometimes the only language people understand, comment "Chapter closed" below, because your story doesn't need her epilogue. 7. Your silence becomes the mirror. Silence is the most misunderstood weapon in a man's arsenal. Not because it's loud, but because it's inescapable. When you stop explaining yourself, stop justifying your boundaries, stop reacting to her emotional tests, you hand her the one thing she can't control: herself. No more distractions. No more blaming you for not communicating. Just raw, unfiltered reflection. And in that stillness, your silence becomes a mirror. One that shows her exactly who she became when she thought no consequences would follow. Most men fear silence because they confuse it with weakness. But Stoicism teaches us the opposite. True strength lies in restraint. The ability to hold your center while chaos swirls around you, that's not passivity. That's mastery. And here's what she starts to see in that mirror. The times she dismissed your feelings because you handled everything so well. The moments she assumed your calm meant you didn't care, when really you cared enough to stay composed. The way she took your loyalty as a given, never once considering what it would feel like to lose it. Your silence doesn't accuse, it reveals. It doesn't punish, it clarifies. And because there's no argument to win, no text to dissect, no emotional outburst to dissect, she's left alone with the only person she's been avoiding, herself. That's where real accountability begins. Not in your words, but in her thoughts. This is why so many women reach out months later with vague messages like, "I've been thinking about you." They're not missing you. They're missing the version of themselves they were when you were present. Calmer, kinder, more grounded, because your energy shaped hers, even if she never admitted it. But you don't owe her a reunion. You owe yourself peace. So keep your silence, not as a tactic, but as a testament, a declaration that your worth no longer lives in the noise of her validation, but in the quiet certainty of your own discipline. If you've stopped trying to make her understand and started living in a way that makes understanding irrelevant, comment "mirror" below, because truth needs no explanation. 8. You win by moving forward. Let's be brutally clear. The real victory has nothing to do with her pain and everything to do with your peace. Too many men get stuck in the trap of measuring their worth by whether she got it or finally saw what she lost. But that's still letting her live rent-free in your mind. True power isn't making her regret you. It's reaching a point where her regret no longer matters. Because while she's replaying the past, you're building a future so compelling that looking back feels like stepping into someone else's life. You wake up focused. You move through your day with purpose. You set boundaries not out of anger, but out of self-honor. And slowly, something shifts inside you. You stop needing her validation to feel whole. That's the Stoic win, not revenge, not closure from her, but self-completion. You become the man who doesn't need to prove his value, because he lives it daily. And here's the beautiful irony. The more you move forward without looking back, the more time does the work for you. She'll hear whispers of your growth, see glimpses of your calm confidence, maybe even witness how other women treat you with respect, not entitlement. And in those moments, she won't just miss you. She'll mourn the version of herself she could have been. If only she hadn't mistaken your patience for weakness. But again, that's her journey, not yours. Your mission now is simple. Protect your energy, deepen your discipline, and refuse to let anyone, even your own memories, pull you back into a story where you were secondary. You weren't just a good man. You were the right man, at the wrong time for someone who didn't yet know how to hold on to something real. Now, you're free to become even more. So keep building, keep rising, not to show her what she lost, but to honor the man you're becoming. Because your growth is your closure, your peace is your power, and your future, it doesn't need her blessing to shine. If you're done tying your worth to her hindsight, comment "forward" below. Because your best chapters aren't behind you, they're being written right now. Brother, here's the truth you can't unsee. Time didn't just reveal who she was, it revealed who you were always meant to become. Her illusion shattered the moment you chose dignity over desperation. Not because you shouted your worth, but because you stopped proving it to someone who refused to see it. Your silence wasn't coldness, it was clarity. Your distance wasn't rejection, it was self-preservation. And every day you stayed gone, you weren't losing her. You were reclaiming yourself. This journey was never about making her fall apart. It was about ensuring you never fell back into a version of yourself that accepted being secondary. You weren't replaceable. You were resilient. And while she's now confronting the echo of your absence, you're standing in the fullness of your presence, calmer, sharper, and finally free. So don't look back waiting for an apology. Don't measure your healing by her hindsight. Your victory isn't her regret, it's your peace. Your power isn't in her pain, it's in your discipline. And your future? It doesn't need her blessing to thrive. Live like a Stoic, not untouched by pain, but undisturbed by chaos. Protect your energy. Honor your standards. Build a life so grounded that no one's late realization can shake it. If this resonated, hit subscribe. We go deeper every week for men who choose strength over sentiment. And if you're walking this path right now, drop "rebuilt" in the comments. Let's remind each other, time didn't break us, it forged us.